Good evening, everybody. I'm Kath Lloyd from Make the Change, and it's 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, and it's Let's Talk. And tonight, I am going to be introducing you to social medicine. So, what's it all about? Well, we all know that positive relationships are based on, good positive relationships are based on trust, respect, and support. And they create positive emotions. So just like, poor relationships where you're perhaps colliding with each other, feelings of being unsettled, lack of trust, lack of respect is then going to lead to negative emotions. Okay, so that's really easy to understand, isn't it? And we all experience positive relationships and negative relationships, and that is just the course of life, isn't it? We can't get on with everybody. It would be great if we did, but because we're complicated creatures with often a lot of baggage along the way, which makes a difference to how we think, feel and behave, things get very, very complicated. But in terms of using, and this isn't in a use and abuse sense, this is about using it in a positive way to help us when we are feeling down. Hi Nick, lovely to see you. When we're feeling down, anxious, stressed, we're going through a really difficult period in our life, this is when we need the positive relationships to enhance our positive emotions. Okay, so what happens? Right, so basically the part of our brain that is to do with our feelings and emotions is in the orbital, I've just got it up here just to double check, orbital frontal cortex, and it lies just behind our eyes. And it's one of the first areas of the brain that is developed when we are in the womb. And the reason it's developed first is because as soon as we're born, as babies, we need for good healthy growth and development, we need good positive relationships with our parents or the people who are caring for us. Okay, and so the reason, and the feelings that this social medicine gives us is the need for more of that bonding so that we can thrive even better and we can continue to have good relationships with our parents and or caregivers, so that there is the best opportunity to grow up to be happy, healthy, sociable, well-adjusted individuals. I know that a lot of stuff can get in the way of all of that, but that is why it is there. Okay, and so what is happening is the orbital frontal cortex is very closely related to the part of the brain that processes emotion, and which is also called apparently the social brain. Now, if we didn't have the orbital frontal cortex, then it would mean that we wouldn't have, or it is damaged in some way, it would mean that we could function and we could go through life, but we wouldn't have the social airs and graces. We would be lacking in empathy for other people, which then would mean that we would come across as very harsh people, lack of understanding, which would then create problems for, relationship building. Okay, so with the development and finding out more about the brain, because it's a huge area, isn't it, that the one scientist, I'm just going to read his name up here because I don't want to get it wrong, and actually he's a neuroscientist from the University of Indiana, and his name is Jack Panskep. okay, and he's done a lot of research around the orbital frontal cortex and how it works. And what he has found out is that it is very, very rich in natural opiates, okay, and these natural opiates then activate the orbital frontal cortex. Okay, so what happens is that when we start, when we are with people that we like, when we are with our kids or people that we love, our kids, our families, our partners, okay, it activates a lot of the hormones that we hear a lot about, okay. So first of all, it activates dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter, okay, and the dopamine activates feelings of pleasure. Okay, so if we know that we are going to meet somebody that we like or that we love, then that is already going to start, or we talk to them on the phone or on Messenger, anything like that, then it's going to trigger the dopamine level so that we start to have those feelings of pleasure. Okay, so then from that, oxytocin is produced, which is a neurohormone, okay, and that hormone gives us the feeling of love and closeness, and that comes from just physical contact with people that we like. So it could be, you know, when we're talking with our friends, it could be a touch on the arm, or it could be a hug from your children, or it could be just that you're snuggled up close on the sofa with somebody. And so and that's why we get those feelings. All right, so it's the dopamine that then triggers off the oxytocin, okay, that gives us the great feelings that we feel when we're with people that we like to be with. So that all makes sense. The trouble is, when we go through times of anxiety, stress, trauma, when we're feeling under pressure, even perhaps when we're feeling not very well, then a lot of the time we can feel as if we just want to hide ourselves away, that we don't want to see anybody, that we just want to keep ourselves to ourselves. But actually, you know, it's not doing ourselves any favours, because we're not triggering the dopamine and then the oxytocin, okay, which is actually doing us a huge amount of good. So yes, if you know, we take our, you know, you go to the doctors and they give you a tablet which you take from the advice of the doctor. So why don't we take the natural benefits of the hormones that are given to us naturally in our bodies to then help us feel happier, more secure, which will feed our well-being, probably even better than the tablet that you get from the doctor. So that is just a little something for you to think about, and this is a really interesting area that I'm spending quite a lot of time reading about now, all about the plasticity of the brain and how it works. And I mean, the brain is such a powerful tool that we have, and it's all, and I mean, our whole body is, isn't it? And it's almost as if our body is a massive design and engineering project, you know, because one thing triggers another thing that then triggers something else and triggers something else. So to help us keep those great feelings of normal, happiness, balance, then we need to use our natural resources within ourselves to help us to be the happier, brighter, better, more fulfilled, more content person that we want to be. Unfortunately, stuff gets in the way, and when we are, anxious, down, stressed, recovering from some form of trauma, we forget all of these things, and we can wallow, can't we? And this is what I've talked about before with the change curve. That we have the trauma, and we're in shock first of all, and then we go into the second phase, which is down the change curve into the anger, and then down, if we're not careful, into depression. And what we need to do is to find the best way to get ourselves out of that change curve as best we can and as early as we can before we go too far down, because it's like anything, the further you move away from your goal, the harder it is to get back to where you want to be. So it's about really listening to our bodies. It's about really understanding our bodies, our feelings, our thought processes, our behaviours, so that we're in a better position to turn it around and be able to get back up on the balance, to have those feelings of normal again, so that you can continue in the best possible way that you can do to be the great person that you are.